Hello everyone, welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief Recap. I do like to report off of this breadth indicator. Unfortunately, our engine ran into a bit of a hiccup there at the beginning of the week, so my apologies. Data unfortunately stalled there as of Monday, so I haven't really been reporting off of that. I haven't talked to you guys, I guess, since last Wednesday, so my apologies on that. But you guys in the free, what I usually like to do is a nice little breadth overview of what's happening. We were right at a very interesting juncture for crypto, and then all of a sudden the engine crashed. Oh, wonderful. So still a work in progress, but good to see at least we are making progress. So we'll have that back up and running shortly, I hope. With regard to the broader market, in a weird sort of way, is that breadth message that we had was basically everything was sort of just, we had initially broken after an overbought condition. Then the question ultimately was, were we going to sort of get back on the bullish footing? I don't think we've really gotten any definitive answer today. And it being a Friday, I get the impression lots of positions squaring heading into the weekend. Lots of earnings have come out recently. Stocks have initially seen interesting buying action, but they've been fading into the rally. Also, too, we have tax deadline. Today is the tax deadline here in Canada. 2 weeks from now is tax deadline filing for the Americans. So my hunch is probably going to be some selling pressure around all that as well. So as you can see on the screen, big update in the US dollar index coming out of a reload zone. Didn't fill in the gap to the downside, but if we did turn here in this reload zone, it wouldn't surprise me. And of course, I've been a U.S. dollar bull now since the turn of the year. Really, hell, I've been a U.S. dollar bull since before this crisis, and this actually kind of caught me off guard, which kind of sucks, but yeah, it is what it is. I still like the idea of the US dollar going much, much higher over the next 10, 15 years. And the dollar index, so it's not really like the US dollar itself is more valuable. It's just relative to all its, corrupt fiat currency trading pairs. Its poop stinks the least. There does seem to be quite a push for actually a raise of the U.S. tax rates. So that, of course, anybody who's trying to figure out what the hell these silly currencies are worth, probably that is factoring into sort of their thinking, where governments are actually going to see rising revenues going forward. Also, too, the econs are coming up fairly robust, showing indeed the Fed had suggested that there was going to be a fairly sizable snapback. And if anything, the impression that I get is that the overall economy should have contracted and shrunk. Deflation. But what they did was they conned the politicians into approving a whole bunch of new, basically public debt. So in essence, instead of actual GDP, gross domestic product, you had manufactured GDP in the form of borrowed money injected into the economy. Now, so in essence, offsetting that deflation. And now, of course, on the other side of that, they're not taking that money back. And now we're getting economic expansion numbers. So in a weird sort of way, we are going to have inflation now here, even though we never did get the economy technically contracted by 30%. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. I've been sort of mulling this over in my head, trying to figure out the logic of all this. But I guess the point that I would just make is this is the whole sort of fugazi of every 80 years you have to reset the currency system, and in essence, really I might even argue every 40 years. You just simply have to add a zero onto whatever the reserve currency base is that you're using as the bankers sort of collect their banker tax on society. I don't think there's really anything any democratically elected politician in our Western society that can actually do anything about this now. Well entrenched, they got away with it, and this time around it was nice and convenient. They had a nice little public health scare that they could frame all of this behavior around. What kind of bothers me is that the 1%, the banksters, they have basically said that because inflation has averaged about 1.7% according to their phony baloney statistics, and the stated objective is 2% annualized inflation, then that means that for 20-25 years we've been running 0.3% below what they want to average. So does that mean that over the next 20-25 years we could actually run annual inflation, let's say off of their phony baloney numbers, of 2.3% average, and they'll be perfectly happy? I think so. But what that does mean is we may see, goods and services in our economy move up dramatically in price. What's really fascinating is even with the substantial rise in things like lumber prices, even, gasoline prices are pressing up against old highs here. Their phony baloney government stated statistics still show their inflation rate at 1.8%. So ironically enough, everybody and their brother in society sees what's going on with prices. Damn, you can't. I like to use the Subway sandwich analogy. When in 2000, I used to go and get a 6-inch tuna and cheese from Subway, and it used to cost me like $2.50. And a foot long would cost you like $5. Well, nowadays, that Subway sandwich now, 6-inch Subway sandwich is a good $7-8 here in Vancouver. So you can't tell me that there is average low inflation. In fact, that's well over double. And they say that money doubles every 10 years at 7.2%. So if that's 20 years and the price of that sandwich has gone up, almost 3x? Then that must mean that inflation is actually running at about, I don't know, maybe about 4 or 5%. And that's actually probably more accurate. So I guess where I'm going with all this is don't be shocked. And, I guess this is really getting back to this chart that I show the public often, although I never know where the hell I keep it. This chart over here. What is this next decade going to look like? This is where we are right now. And there's the 2000 peak. There's basically the past 20 years of just a shitty economy. And these silly politicians just raping us over and over and over. Just doesn't end. But ironically enough, if the Fed actually has what they want to have happen, this is what we should express as, because keep in mind the stock market is nothing more than just the ultimate leading economic indicator of the economy. So if the stock market does this, just like, stock market did this, well, what's going to end up happening is commodity prices will do this. Oil went from like $20 to $100, right? And gold went from $250 up to like $2,000. nothing is isolated. It's all works together. So if the Fed does indeed get away with the Fugazi, which I think is exactly what they've done here, then all the stock market is going to do is just keep rising and rising and rising. Not necessarily because earnings and the companies are so great. It's just they just keep diluting the currency more and more and more and more. And the stocks are just doing nothing more than just staying stable. So, historical precedent. I think there are tons of historical precedent to compare this cycle where we are right now. And if you think about money history, go watch the Money Masters videos. 80-year duration of these cycles. So 80 years prior to 2020 is 1940. Did anything of earth-shattering significance that changed the landscape of what they considered as money then happen around 1940 to 1945? I wonder. Could you make similar analogies to World War II and the way governments basically became absolutely dictatorial? 100% command control economies. No consumer economy at all. Are we in that kind of environment? Sounds awfully familiar. And then coming out of the Second World War, the winners. And I think that's going to be like the boys from Goldman Sachs and everybody out of, Israel, I suppose, and Joey Diamonds of the world. Bill Gates's, Jeff Bezos's, all those kind of people. They're going to be setting the rules for what the hell this world looks like for the next, probably 50, 60, 70 years. And then, of course, we do it all over again at the end. So, I do like this idea that you're going to find that the stock market, everybody and their brother is going to be calling for crash. Oh, the crash is going to come. This is going to be the crash. This is going to be the crash. And it just won't come. Why? Because the banksters are just going to continually every time the market shows any kind of weakness, boom, right in there they are supporting prices. And I think I made a kind of an anecdotal reference joke with the community in that I use my bank as a great proxy on how the banks are feeling. And, just over the past 5-10 years, they were just nickel and diming everything. Checks cost money. Service fees, annual fees, everything. Just total dickheads. Cranking up interest rates, cutting credit on anybody who couldn't, pass muster. You know how the story goes. And then all of a sudden I went into the bank the past week. Oh, Mr. Beamish, we value you as a customer. We want to give you preferred customer rates as long as you keep your money at the bank and all that kind of talk. Hey, no charge checking. Oh, you're so generous. Anyway, so the point of the matter here is I can tell just by the way they're acting that they've won. And they've gotten away with the Fugazi. They're not stressed at all anymore. So there's the backdrop of the world that we live in. Party. Good part about it, of course, a lot of people that watch this video, of course, there's one part of the market that you are participating in, which to a certain degree is just nothing more than, in my eyes, just an offset of what the bankers are doing. And that's your good old crypto. So, where are we here? Stock markets, big malaise. Our breadth indicator a while ago was not really overly happy. I can't really fancy it looking a hell of a lot different right now. We haven't done a hell of a lot here. Oil market tried to break out. It's been floundering a little bit here today. Higher highs and higher lows, though, so I wouldn't bet against the oil right yet. Bond market, inverted head and shoulders, but maybe an M top here. You can see how my crazy ass forecast was just looking for up, back, and forth. I think we're getting that. The only problem here is that it just doesn't fill me with a lot of confidence. Gold market was really feeling quite bullish there maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. Had a really nice rally, but things have kind of malaised over just like the bonds. Looking heavy again, so I kind of pulled distinct bids that I had on gold stocks. Junior stocks, kind of talked about this recently. Dead cat bounce off of new lows. We broke the trend line, but the rule is got to have a W on the other side of the trend line, so really nothing to even think about there. And kind of the same thing, dead cat bounce on the small caps, dead cat bounce on the shit coins, dead cat bounce on the Bitcoin itself. Interesting juncture we're at right here. Kiran, our level 2 instructor, came out and sort of said to our audience recently, this was a really, really important level for Bitcoin to close back above. Now that it seems to have on like a 4-hour basis, we can at the very least just temper our bearish enthusiasm. And if anything, what I think's happening here now, remember we had that funny tail in there, eh? So it looks to me like they've got the market on the run. V bottom, V top, V bottom. There's just somebody's got an agenda here, and the public is being completely frozen out of this move. Which might make sense too, right? Because they got everybody all freaked out and selling, and oh, this is the end, right? Now they're going to work the price right back up at the slower time frame. Retail participants, they're going to have a damn difficult time trying to get back into this. Our day traders, what they would like to see is we did accept back above this resistance level. Now, let's just be patient and disciplined, wait for signs of bullish structure on some sort of consolidation here for an actual buy signal. It may not come in. This market may just go boom, 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 straight up, straight down, public completely frozen out. It's totally possible. It's the trader's life. As we said there a moment ago about trendline analysis, kind of same thing as the small caps. The rule should be here now that we've broken this trend line. Don't take a trade on a trendline break, because this often is dangerous. Sometimes the market will actually come back and just work its way right back along this trend line. And it drives you crazy when you see that happen. So be careful here. This is not a buy signal. What I want to see, of course, is show me a W. Right? Show me some sort of acceptance above here. So for the time being, yep, we're pointing up, kind of like the small caps, the shit coins, nice dead cap bounce off the lows. The small caps relative to the big caps, dead cap bounce off the lows. Not really any new buy signals. Remember, I would show you that breadth chart. Remember how I think it was on Sunday or Monday, we had the breadth chart really coiling up tightly here. And unfortunately, maybe somebody even went, holy shit, these guys know too much. We better shut their fucking system down, because Sjord's like, holy Jesus, we're getting shit, crazy ass stuff happening all over the place on the back end. But remember I was showing you the crypto breadth. We were right at such an interesting inflection point here. And then all of a sudden everything stopped. It's like, oh, you took my candy away, you bastards. So anyway, hopefully, fingers crossed, Sjord can get the algo back up and running. Toot sweet. So, I've said this before. You're going to make $1 million, even if you came in 2 or 3 months ago. And keep in mind, Bitcoin really hadn't done a hell of a lot here over the past, what is this? February. So February, March, April, now into May. So like 3 or 4 months, we've just sort of been back and forth, back and forth. I don't really think we've broken down here. And interestingly enough, it's this kind of market state that one part of the market does fabulously well. And that's the poop coins. Poop coin, tastes great. So in a weird sort of way, we've been sort of talking about who's going to outperform here. Is it going to be the DeFi or is it going to be the shit coins? DeFi was carrying the day there, and, Ethereum kept pushing higher and pushing higher. We're just a hop, skip, and a jump away from new highs here. Interesting how Litecoin's the perfect shitcoin. It's trying to get its act back in going. But what I kind of notice in this market is it's the little pieces of crap that are finally starting to come back to life. In fact, I was sharing on the site, we have this shitcoin 5,000 challenge. And we just picked all the bottom 25 coins on the list. But the irony of it all is I've already got doubles off on some of these, so I can't include them anymore. But I was going to go and just nibble away on these shitcoins and just see what happens over the summer. But that's, ironically enough, that's actually where I think the money's to be made in this market, which of course is terribly politically incorrect. I thought it was funny, and I don't know whether it's an accident or whether actually somebody really believes it or not, but Alex was sending me, I couldn't believe Alex sent me this tweet here today that Remy guy now has put out a music video on Dogecoin. And unfortunately, when this guy usually puts out videos on coins, that's actually not a good sign. That's usually a top of the market. So Alex sent me this, and I couldn't believe this thing. Doge money, dog money, Doge. And what's so funny is he's a CR investor, because listen what he says right at the beginning of this.
Coming up, bad news for savers, as even those with high-interest savings accounts are seeing their money disappear thanks to inflation. But first, we'll detail every possible thing you could die from. He's a rational investor.
Can you believe that? I don't know whether it's accident he used rational investor in there, but I thought that was kind of funny. And Alex picked up on that quick. Typical Alex. So anyway, we all love Doge. Doge is such a funny, crazy story of this market right now. And if anything, Doge, this is this silly market state. But, try not to get sucked into the trap that it's just Doge, or it's just Bitcoin, or it's just Ethereum. That's not what I think's going on here. I think it is the whole cryptocurrency space has this very natural 4-year cycle, boom, bust, expansion, contraction cycle. If anything, it's the personification of the venture cap market. And all these coins, they just, they have their respective day in the sun. And when they have their day in the sun, just make damn sure to pay yourself. I don't necessarily believe that you should fall in love with one or another. The way I like to look at it, and I've told people this before, is I just want to own everything. Just give me a little piece of, and I pretty much own every single thing that you see on the screen. I mean, fuck, I must have like hundreds and hundreds of different cryptocurrencies. So, it just so happened that Doge is, it enjoyed its day in the sun. Are we going to go to new highs here? I doubt it, but who knows? It's just opinion as it stands right now. That's a pretty damn wild trading range. So you want to go and buy that there. Caveat emptor. Be careful. And I told you there's some little cryptocurrencies that are just, I know that they're going to have their day in the sun. You just never know exactly when. And it's just really a question of me just stepping in. I mean, you see this W. It's as plain as day. And at some point, this guy will, this happens to be a cryptocurrency guy who's fairly respected in the space. So my hunch is probably at some point, through these summer rallies, we'll be testing these highs up here. As just an example of one that hasn't gone yet. And of course I love my little Mona coin, but I think he's already gone quite a bit. But no, there's the W. Somebody told me the other day, well, Brian, this coin's dead. Oh, okay, fine. There's Algo, another great example. I mean, look at that W. It's just going to have its day in the sun. It's just, exactly when, anyone's guess. Probably a good example of, you see this old high here, right? Like the Russian decentral sort of play, or what do you call it? DeFi play, this Waves. It actually just broke to new all-time highs. So do you think that's done? I don't think so. Can't buy it here. You see the W way down here, maybe even like right there is the killer trade. So you can't really come in here, but it's just an anecdote that, just all these coins, they just have their day in the sun. My job is, in a weird sort of way, what I am is a farmer. And all I do is I plant the seeds. This is a really interesting one because it turns out one of the guys who was a principal in this and one of the main miners from years and years, the last cycle, we traded this and had made great money through this, but the guy never sold any up top. And how ironic. This is usually what happens if you don't pay yourself in venture capital. I don't even know if he's actually even still in the story. But, when this thing came back down the bottom end of the range, look what Brian's doing, stepping back in. And here we are just running our business of banging out doubles. So this is the kind of market that we're in. Can I predict and tell you which one is going to go next, is going to do this? Not really. It's just you just got to be at the wheel, at the helm, and just, be ready to act and make sure you have those open orders working. So, get out there and have fun. I can't tell you which is the next one that's going to go, but we're in this kind of environment where they're popping off right, left, and center. So, just be sharp. Enjoy. Obviously, you got a plan. And you can't, like when you see this, you can't come in here and go, well, should I buy this here? I mean, you're way too late. You got to buy it when nobody's interested in this shit down here. And you can even see when I bought this, right? Still, it went lower. So it's not like I'm like, oh, Mr. Perfect Timer. But this is more about how do you manage money? How do you actually set yourself up so that when these silly things do go nuts like this, you're in? And that's all about building a plan, vetting your plan, and then following the plan. And as I said, this gentleman here, he actually came to TRI. He bought all the courses. He said all the right things, but he didn't actually plan. And he didn't do any of the things that we taught him. And so as a result, he bag held the whole fucking way right back down. Don't be that guy. If you are going to buy, for heaven's sakes, when these damn things start to perform, you don't have to sell all of it. You don't even have to sell half on a double. Maybe you sell half on a triple. I don't know. This is a nice, simple no-brain. I don't think it's just I run my business of making money from trading. That's what I want you to do. That's my gift that God's given me to try and help and make this world a better place. I even put a tweet out today. I can't help you unless you help me to help you. If you need the absolute most intensive help possible, that's why we built this school program. That over a 12-week period, we go step by step by step by step by step, so that by time, if you actually pay attention for 12 straight weeks, you come out the other side knowing how the fuck this game works. But I can't help you if you fight me. If you argue with me. I've been playing this game for so long, I don't need to debate whether this shit that I teach works. It works. It's just you got to get in there and you have to do it. So, you here to make money from trading? You're here to run a small, profitable business of trading? You need some help? These free videos don't charge you a dime. There's guys that watch these videos. They've done a great job teaching themselves. Great. Awesome. Not everybody's like that, though. Trust me. I mean, those are the really, really, really smart people. And frankly, they don't need to take my course. My courses are for all the rest of us that aren't that smart, that need a helping hand, that need some guidance, that need somebody to go, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. Just do this, 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 and this, and you're learning and doing the process. If you need that help, that's what we're here, and that's the value that we provide the world. We have a new school program that starts up in a couple weeks, and if you do it and you get yourself well positioned, you should set yourself up to really kick ass in this coming summer silly season. But you got to get to work. All right, I think I've done my rant. I didn't want to make this too long. I'll see everybody for broiler chicken. Should be a nice free-for-all. If you have questions, feel free. I'll try and directly speak to you guys in the YouTube audience on Sunday. Have yourselves a great day. Thank you so much, everybody, who helps put this site and these shows together on a regular basis. You know who you are. Couldn't do it without you. And thank you, Jojo, for leading me and keeping me focused to try and keep making this world a little bit better of a place. All right, everybody, have yourselves a great day. All the best, and bye for now.